The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rolf-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, operators of a popular Grand Bahama tour are firing back. Over the past week, operators of the West Grand Bahama tour featuring the swimming pigs have been widely criticized and accused of brutal treatment of the animals. But tonight, the coordinators of that tour are refuting the claims.
Celebrity Eco Adventures has been in the Deadman's Reef community since 2014, but in 2017, the owner, Barbara Darville, and her family decided to step things up a notch and got some pigs for locals and tourists to swim with while visiting the facility. There are 15 Bahamians employed with the company. Tour operators and taxi drivers also take hundreds of visitors to the facility every week. But recently, a visitor posted on their social media page that the pigs are being mistreated and are kept on a remote rock which does not provide any space for fresh water or food, adding that the pigs are fighting for their lives. The writer also called for the closure of the operation. Now, since that post, the complaint has gotten national and international attention. When our ZNS news team visited the tour site, we were taken to the area where the pigs are kept, which is in a closed fenced-in area on the beach with shade, water, and employees were on hand attending to them. Tour operators say during the tour, the pigs are let out of the secured area and allowed to roam freely, to go into the water and to swim to nearby rocks. A veterinarian employed by the government was also seen on the property during our visit. Spokesperson for the company, Peter Adderley, says the claims made by the visitor are false and they will not allow the misinformation of one visitor to put a group of Bahamians out of work.
Those remarks were totally uncalled for and unfounded. These pigs are well kept. There's a vet, a highly qualified vet with international certification that looks after these pigs once a month. They're under 24-hour surveillance. The conditions here are approved by the government agency responsible for the facility. The facility that they speak of, there's no desolated island here. There's no isolation. There's a resting hole for the pigs with ventilation. There's food, there's water always available.
Now, owner Barbara Darville says they have a total of 19 pigs and they are properly trained. The owner says she was in shock when she saw the claims, adding that she would never mistreat the animals.
I love my pigs and we care for them. We have a vet that comes once a month to make sure that everything is done properly and we're within the regulations.
She says the Ministry of Tourism has visited the site and had no complaints, adding that a veterinarian visits once a month. Now, Adderley says they are moving forward and will not let this unfortunate event set them back.
We're confident that the Prime Minister, the Minister of Tourism, who has been on this facility, has mentioned this operation in the House of Assembly, commended the tourism product. The Minister responsible for Marine and Agriculture, the Honourable Michael Pintard, whose constituents benefit as a result of this facility. We're certain that his visit will also prove that this is an operation that is here to stay, and no one foreigner will be allowed to bring this operation down.
Now, the total cost of the investment is $1.5 million. It's Talia Hall, ZNS Network News.
In other news, an Abaco man is feared missing at sea. The elderly fisherman was last seen around 7 a.m. on Tuesday, and despite a coordinated search effort by Basra and other parties, he has not been found. Tonight, family members of the missing man say they are still hoping for the best. 72-year-old James Green, an experienced fisherman and sports legend, has been missing since Tuesday. His brother-in-law, Dr. Cecil Thompson, says he went out to sea and has not been seen or heard from since.
Unfortunately, he was in a boat by himself. It's also my understanding that it was rough, and it appears as if the boat must have capsized, right? And he, as I understand it, was able to tie the coolers to the boat. and that prevented the boat from sinking. And no one knew what was happening because he's all by himself. And so one doesn't know if this happened 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 o'clock. By around 4:30, his wife, Mrs. Annie Green, or Minister Annie Green, was concerned. And she gave alarm because he usually doesn't stay away on a fishing trip that long, right? By 4 o'clock, he'd have been long home, clean his fish up, etc., etc.
He says a pilot was then called to do an aerial search in southern Abaco.
It is my understanding that they've discovered the boat that Jimmy was in between 5 and 10 miles in the Atlantic Ocean, away from Sandy Point, away from Castaway Key. Those of us out of the Abacos call it Goda, because he was in that channel there. And so that was quite troubling indeed. If you know Abaco, you know southern Abaco, it's one of the richest fishing grounds in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And when you have a rich fishing grounds, it means that the water's off, the ocean comes near the shore, and the waters are populated by huge sharks. But we don't know what has happened.
But he says the family is still holding out hope for a man who is revered as kind, well-respected, and a leader in his community.
I mean, he's just beloved by my children and all the kids and the grandkids, and they just affectionately call him Pa. And his daughters are devastated. But his wife, we call her Sister Annie Green, is all optimistic. They went out this morning, and I'm told she told her grandson to take some extra T-shirts and towel. She's still expecting a miracle. And we are praying and hoping for a miracle. But realistically, we are prepared to accept whatever God's decision is in these circumstances.
Switching gears now, this is Holy Week, an important celebration on the Christian calendar as it marks the final week of the season of Lent and recounts the final days of Christ's life, as well as his death, burial, and resurrection. Today is Maundy Thursday or Holy Thursday. This commemorates the Last Supper of Jesus Christ with his apostles. Meantime, the Grand Bahama Christian Council has organized a special service for tonight at Jubilee Cathedral beginning at 7 p.m. Tomorrow, a special Good Friday march is set for the Freeport area community. Jamila Mizik has more.
Easter is a time when Christians around the world recognize the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and the Grand Bahama Christian community is no different. Churches across the island are celebrating Holy Week and have several events planned. One in particular, a popular Easter event, the March to Calvary. President of the Grand Bahama Christian Council and Senior Pastor of Calvary Temple, Reverend Robert Lockhart, explains the significance of the Good Friday March.
The March to Calvary is simply to help sensitize the community to what Good Friday is and have a public rehearsal of that final march that Jesus would have taken on the road of the Via Dolorosa, heading up to Golgotha to be crucified. So it's an enactment of that. And so it helps to remind people about what Good Friday is all about.
The march will begin at 6 p.m., starting at the corner of the YMCA down to Jubilee Cathedral. And Reverend Lockhart says this year they're doing things a bit differently.
The March to Calvary is something that the Christian Council have been doing for many years. It's some years we don't do it, some years we do it. Sometimes it's been done in different ways. I know at some time in the past there were motorcades instead of a march. And most of the time it's on Friday morning. And so I would think by the grace of God next year we'll be back to the Friday morning. But seeing that most of our churches are having church services on Friday morning and we have the night service on Friday evening. On Friday evening coming, we thought we should marry the two events and have the march leading into the service.
Reverend Lockhart is encouraging persons to embrace the sacred season and enjoy the many activities planned. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us, there's more news right after the break.